Okay, guys, so if you'll make sure that you're on the graphic organizer, we're going to start with the order pairs and we're going to follow around and we're going to go over all the different types of representations. So I need you to recall that domain is X and range is Y. Okay, so when I'm looking at order pairs, the domain of this set of order pairs, remember you open up a set of brackets and you just list them in order. So the smallest one is -1, and then you have 0, and then you have 2, because these are all the X values. For your range, you're going to open up the set of brackets, and they are all the Y values, and they'll generally be written from least to greatest. So 2, 5, and 7. Now, to figure out if it's a function or not, all you got to do is look to see if the X is repeating. So all of my X's are different numbers. So yes, this is a function. Okay, now moving to a table. Okay, you have 3, -2, 0, 3, 1, -4, 2, and 6. Okay, the domain is all the X values. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my bracket, and you can list them numerically. So the smallest one is -2, and then the next smallest is 0, and the next one is 3. But I'm only going to put 3 one time because I have 3 twice. Okay, now for my range, my smallest range is 4, and then it goes 1, 2, and 6. And then is this one a function? No, and it's because of that 3 right there. Okay, moving, excuse me, moving into mapping. Remember that this oval is your X and this oval is your Y. So for my domain, they already list them in smallest to greatest. So I have 7, 0, and 3. My range, I have 1 and 2. And then to figure out if it's a function, I just got to make sure there's only one line coming off of each number. I don't care how many go to a number. I only care how many come off of the number. So since there's only one coming off 7, one coming off 0, and one coming off 3, yes, this is a function. Now we're going to go ahead and move down here, look at this graph, and we'll do the equation last. Okay, excuse me. So for the graph, the domain is your X. So you're going to scan and see how far left it goes, and it goes to right here, which is 1, 2, 3, and -4. And then we're going to scan to see how far right it goes, which is 1. Okay, so since I have a stopping spot on the left and a stopping spot on the right, I put the small number on the left, the big number on the right, X goes in the middle. We always use less than symbols since your small number's on the left, and then the circle is touching exactly at both of those spots, so they are equal to. Now for range, we go bottom to top. So I start with the lowest, which is at -2, and I go to the highest, which is at +3. So smallest number on the left, biggest number on the right. Always put less thans in between. And since it's touching exactly at -2 and -3, we go ahead and put equal to bars. Now to figure out if this is a function, we're just going to do that vertical line test. And if you notice, it's touching in 2 spots, and that tells you right away, no, this is not a function because it does not pass the vertical line test. Okay, for the last one, you're just going to use your calculator. So you have y equals x squared minus 1. So we're going to come in here, we're going to do y equals, we're going to type in x squared minus 1, and then we're just going to hit graph. Okay, so now this problem looks exactly like this problem over here. We just changed the equation to a graph. Okay, once you do that, you can figure out your domain and range. You just have to use the calculator to do it. Now remember, the calculator can only show a certain window set. So this graph is actually still getting bigger and bigger, and I can, show that to you by zooming out. So now you can see the tick marks are closer and the graph is smaller. I could keep zooming out and zooming out and zooming out, but there's no point because it'll just keep going and going and going. So back to the original graph to show you. So domain, how far left is this graph going to go? Well, if you follow this graph up to the left, this is going to keep going left forever. And if you follow this graph up to the right, it's going to keep going right forever. So my domain is all real numbers. Now for range, if I follow the graph down, the lowest spot is right here at this curve. And I know my pin mark didn't hit where it is. So you just have to see how low that goes. And it goes down to -1. So I'm going to put that beside. And then I'm going to scan up and see how high it goes. And remember, as we went left and we went right, we were going up and down. We were both going up. So therefore, this goes up forever. So the only limitation that this has is that -1. So we're going to put Y, leave a small gap, and then -1. Now, what you have to look for is the graph going above or below -1? So really the easiest way to ask this is the graph going up or is the graph going down? Since the graph is going up, this would be a greater than, and then since it's touching exactly at -1, we put equal to. Now to figure out if it's a function, you again do that vertical line test. So if I do a vertical line test and pick a bunch of different spots on here, it's only going to touch that blue line once. So yes, this is a function. Okay, so make sure you get your graphic organizer filled out, and if you have any questions, let me know.